Hey there, it's Angela, and I'm so glad you found your way here to architecting. Creative careers can be stressful, and it's hard to be vulnerable, but this is your landing pad for raw honesty. I'll help you get clarity, reconnect with your passion, and have the career of your dreams. If you're ready to make a difference, have an impact, and say bye-bye to burnout, stick with me, and let's get architecting. Bright Lights, it's Angela, and welcome back to another episode of Architecting. This is your place for getting out of all the things that keep you stuck from having the career of your dreams. I'm here to move you past all that overwhelm, stress, burnout, all of the ways that you have decided that the big dreams are not really the thing you need to focus on. It's all these deadlines or these things on your to-do list. This is a place you come to shift that energy. And hey, people, we are at the end of January. We are well into 2025 now, and I don't want you at this same point next year to look back and say, I'm still here. I'm still in this same place. Instead, I want you to think about what it would be like to write a letter right now to your January 2026 self. And in that letter, tell yourself about all the things that you've done this year to get to a different and better place, to achieve goals you've had, start working on things you've been putting off for years, whatever that is. Think about what you would have to say. Did you come up with a whole list of things, or like most people, did you just kind of hit a wall and not really know how to even start writing said letter? If you're raising your hand to that one, this is your episode. We are going to talk about something I call the when-then conundrum. And this is a sneaky little procrastination/perfectionism trick that a lot of people do. I talk about this in my Time Builder book. I have a whole chapter devoted to this because it is so insidious, and yet we all do it. So if you've ever caught yourself saying something like, when I achieve fill in the blank, then I can go for fill in the blank. The then part of the statement is something that really matters to you. It's a goal, it's an accomplishment, an achievement. But you've decided that you don't feel worthy of it as your present tense self. So you've created this when statement, this little hurdle, if you will, that you have to get over in order to be worthy of the thing that you want. Now, to be clear, I'm not talking about the fact that we have to work towards goals. Know that we all have to take steady action, and a lot of times it's incremental progress. We don't snap our fingers and arrive at a big dream. But what I catch so many people doing is putting tasks in their way that are really obstacles, that are walls, not stepping stones. So the things that we're doing that are the aligned action, the incremental progress, those are the stepping stones, right? They're getting us to where we want to go. The things that are the hurdles, though, are the reasons why we're stalling out. And this can look like a lot of things. It can look like saying, I need a certain qualification or certification before I can even start to take some of these incremental steps. And we fool ourselves because this seems like a worthwhile pursuit. It seems like this credential is part of the stepping stone, except the credential itself has a whole series of things to do. And we don't keep making other progress. We just put everything on the back burner while we work on that. And then the path to that thing starts to be lined with its own obstacles. And we maybe even delay making progress on that because we found some other intermediate thing we need to do first, and so on and so on. While we're doing this, we're fooling ourselves into thinking that we are taking steps to move ahead towards the career that we want, when actually we are looking for excuses and putting distractions in our way so that we're keeping ourselves busy without actually moving forward. We're treading water. I love to use the example of the story of Cinderella. We all know she gets invited to the ball and her stepmother does not want her to go to the ball, but doesn't want to absolutely forbid her because the invitation has a decree that all eligible women can go to the ball. So she's got to find a sneaky way to keep Cinderella away from the ball. And in this case, it is a series of chores. Except Cinderella does the chores and then, oh wait, there's more. And this cycle keeps repeating such that she doesn't have enough time and or she doesn't meet the requirements. She doesn't finish the task list because it's never ending. So she can't go to the ball. Of course, in the fairy tale, Cinderella kind of circumvents all this. In real life, we are really acting as the stepmother to our own version of Cinderella. So here we are, we say we care about going to the ball, and yet we create a bunch of irrelevant tasks we have to finish first before we can start preparing to get to the big goal, the ball. And when we look at it like that, we can start to see how low priority things have become high priority. We could start to say, why am I so afraid to just go for it? So today we're going to shift all that. Now that you see this pattern, now that you see the ways that you are doing this, blocking your own ability. When we say, I don't have time, this is what we're talking about. It's all these things, all these obstacles that we have put up instead of putting that same amount of time towards the stepping stones. So how do we get past that? Because now that we see that we're stuck, we don't want to stay here, right? At least I hope you don't want to stay here. If you're listening, you probably don't. What we have to do to shift this is to say, what does it take to be the person who? You know, sometimes we have to be unabashed about our ability to dream big. Otherwise, we don't think about what we have to do today to become that person in 5 years or 10 years. Maybe you want to have a career where you are recognized for the way that you advanced a cause, like, say, affordable housing. How do we know how to get there? One way is to look for some role models. We reach for the highest branch we can see, so if we can find somebody else who's accomplishing something similar, we can look at how they did it. We can especially look at how they overcame challenges and obstacles. You know, it's really easy when you look at somebody and even if they tell you their life story and talk about the struggles, we already know where they ended up, so we don't fully appreciate what it was like in that moment when they didn't know what was going to happen and they had to face a struggle or the desire to quit or wondering if they were on the right path or wasting their time. My challenge when you look for examples is to dig a little deeper into the moments of truth that that person met along the way and how they overcame it. Then I want you to take a no matter what attitude towards accomplishing your goal. What is one thing you could do today? Maybe it is just looking up some resources on the internet. Maybe it's reaching out to somebody in the affordable housing industry and seeing if you can schedule a 1-hour meeting with them to pick their brain. Maybe it's choosing to join a professional organization. Maybe it's choosing to volunteer with a community development corporation or talking to your city's housing department or planning department and learning more about programs they have and how they work. There's so many little moves. Find those stepping stones. And every single day, look at what you can do to make progress. A third way, think about an award, and not because we're looking for the validation. But if you look at, for example, who was the last person that won the Nobel Peace Prize? What's their story? The person who wins a Nobel Peace Prize has had to have a lifetime of achievements. Now, you're not necessarily pursuing a Nobel Peace Prize, although if you are, don't make yourself wrong for it. But what do you want? And how can you today be the person who? We don't win these awards because somebody suddenly discovers us. They're recognitions of what we have done and the cumulative effect it has had. Well, we're not doing this thing to get the award. I find that it can be helpful to get aligned and stay aligned if you do pick some prestigious award and say, what would I have to do to be the person who could win that? What am I doing today? Not when, but today. Because I promise you, there are things you can do to make progress right now. There are ways you can touch people's lives and make a difference right now. If you think that that stuff doesn't matter, you aren't giving yourself enough credit. Stop being too busy. Stop putting distractions in your path. Stop saying, when I, then I. Stop saying that. And start saying, how can I? What can I do today? And when you do that, when it's something that you really want, when you've given yourself permission to want it, when you believe that it is possible for you, when you've seen how other people have made their big dreams happen, when you've seen and described what the person who does the thing you want to accomplish looks like, you're going to know exactly what those aligned actions are. And you're not going to be afraid to take them. And that's what it's really all about. Getting out of the when-then conundrum that only has a whole series of subset when-then conundrums and saying, I'm not waiting anymore. So write that letter to 2026 you. Put in it what stepping stones you have put in place. Give yourself some deadlines too. What do you want to accomplish by the end of February? What do you think you'll get done in the next 90 days? How about 6 months? Figure it out. Have a deadline. Take action every day, even if it is just 15 minutes. You are not so busy that you don't have 15 minutes to take a small action to move things forward. I just gave a presentation last week to the AI Ohio Small Business Exchange on stress and burnout. My friend Sarah has heard me give similar presentations and specifically wanted me to share this stuff with that group. And that group is very much in the weeds, trying to just get through every day. And the reason they are feeling so stressed out and burned out is because they've lost sight of the big dream. When we're in that big dream, when we're taking that aligned action, when we're making just 8% of our day, that's the magic number. That's like 2 hours. And that 2 hours doesn't have to be all at once. It can be spaced out throughout the day. Time you take in the morning, time you take in the afternoon, time you take that you block out of your schedule during the workday. But whatever it is, committing to having that space, that's what moves you ahead. That's what gives you energy. That's what helps you not feel burned out. Burnout comes from not feeling like you have a purpose. Burnout comes from feeling that the things you do are meaningless or not appreciated. When we're taking that aligned action and we're moving towards the things we really want, the opposite happens. We feel totally actualized. We get into flow state more. We take a no matter what approach. We have non-negotiables around this goal and moving it forward. And as a result, we do all the little things, all the tasks and chores, and we put down one more stepping stone and another and another. Let's make 2025 our no excuses year. Get out of the when-then conundrum and really have a powerful year. I will catch you next time. And in the meantime, don't forget to like, rate, and review wherever you are listening, and to make sure that you share your story with me. I love to hear about what's going on and what progress you're making. I am your biggest cheerleader. I'm giving you permission to dream big today. Take care, everyone. Thanks for listening. If you want even more content, head on over to architectingpodcast.com and subscribe to my newsletter and get some great free downloads while you're there. Be sure to follow me on social media. On Instagram at Architecting Podcast, Facebook and LinkedIn pages are Architecting, and the YouTube channel Architecting Podcast. Stay inspired.